Drum roll! It is Friday Night Live. We are together today, and we are glad to be together. And I'm saying we because it's not just me here. I got my best friend, partner in crime, Mr. Peter Stout. You in the house?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night Live. It's so good to see you all.
What is up? We are glad to be together. And you know, one thing I would just say right off the bat is we understand that there's sad news in the world. Every day, personally, there are people who carry heavy burdens. And right now, I think that we want to just acknowledge that there's a burden that a lot of us feel with this Ukraine situation. And we're not oblivious to that. We're not going to act like that's not there. But we also want to live fully where we are right now. And so we're going to have fun tonight. If you have a heavy heart and you feel that, we want to welcome you too, and know that, you know, we have heavy hearts too with the situations that go on. Sometimes they're big worldwide situations, sometimes they're local situations, but we feel it too. And at the same time, what do? You move forward. We want to bring our best to you tonight. We want to create a healthy and happy place that you can thrive, that we can all enjoy creativity together, and that we can help carry each other's burdens. So anyways, all that to say that we're glad to be together, and we're journeying through this together. So thanks for joining today. Who's here with us, Peter?
Yeah, we got Dennis Jones from North Carolina, Phyllis from Virginia, Miriam from Florida, Shella from Camano Island. Hey, you're close by.
Oh, yeah. Prayers for
Samantha
peace.
Marsh
Jerry
Johnson
Foster.
from Wisconsin. Hi from Sacramento.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
This is the other thing. There are probably people who are gonna be watching this that are closer. You know, I was thinking about some different members of Acrylic University who live in Eastern Europe, and I was thinking, you know, this is a heavy situation for all of us, but for some of us, it's a little closer to home. And so, anyways, hey, from wherever you're coming in from, Alberta, I see Scotland, I see Colorado, Arizona again, Florida, Alberta. Yeah, good. So good. Hi from Sweden. All right. We got Sweden in the house. Hey, you know what? I don't know if you know this, but my wife is half Swedish. She's been to Sweden a few times, and she still has some relatives there. And I think one of them was reaching out to her recently. Man, I have this note on my my desk, I guess. It's from a member's husband. The member lives in Ireland, and they invited us to come visit them in Ireland, which would be seriously awesome. So
that would be awesome.
Maybe someday. Anyways, guys, we're glad to be together. We're going to be painting a scene today. Try to see if I can figure out how to show you what I'm going to be painting. Let's see here. I think I can.
Tracy Who says, love my first month so much that I'm now a lifetime member. Hey, Tracy, welcome to Acrylic University.
Nice.
We're so happy you
Congratulations.
With us. Yeah.
Yeah, we are super thrilled.
Good to
Carry
see
on,
we'll
dude.
Keep seeing you. No, yeah, just happy that we'll keep seeing you around and stuff. Yeah, I've seen you in every single live event pretty much. I remember seeing you at the master class too. It's cool. It's cool. Familiar faces.
Seriously awesome. We get excited. We've had a bunch of people who are doing stuff. I'm just going to be getting some stuff set up. I want to show you a little bit closer of an image. Oh, maybe I can do it this way. Actually, I can do it this way. Let me see. What am I doing here? Oh, I see. I know what's going on. So I want to show you the picture that we're painting. It's a little bit hard to see because the image is small, but this is what we're going to be painting today. And it is a scene from kind of like where I live, and it is actually part of a competition, and I want to give you the information. I'll see if I can get Renee to help me figure out how to get you the information. If you want to enter this little competition, you can get your painting up on a sign at the place where I used to have my studio. Anyways, kind of complicated telling you why, but this is a beach, and there are 4 beaches that are close to where we live, and they're trying to get paintings done. And then they're going to choose one of the winning paintings, or I should say 4 of the beaches, 4 paintings, 1 from each beach, and they're going to put it on a sign that will kind of help be like a map for people and point people where they're going to go. So I just thought, cool. Well, why don't I paint one tonight? You know, why not, right?
Yeah, totally.
Why not? Why not? So
that is pretty cool.
Like you guys know, if you have questions, ask. Peter is here to help. He can answer probably about 95% of the questions at this point himself. And then for the 5% that he can't answer, he'll pass it on to me.
Yep.
But I'm going to get going here, guys. I have titanium white. You can see all the colors. I try to be really nice and put them all up here for you. This is cadmium yellow. It's actually cadmium-free yellow light. This is naphthol red. This is ultramarine blue. And right over here, I do have a little bit of phthalo blue, which I may or may not use too much of. And I don't actually have any black on the canvas on the palette right now, because if I need a really, really dark color, I'm just going to use my phthalo blue, and I'm just going to use some naphthol red and mix those together to create my darks. So I have this is one of these Universal Prime linen painting panels. Basically just a canvas panel. I think that I have painted a painting on here before. Well, I know I have, because I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, either a demonstration or something else, I didn't think it was good. And so I painted over it, and I put gesso back over the top, and
nice.
So we're going to redeem that canvas tonight.
Someone asked if the tide was out in the picture.
Was the tide? It looks to me like the tide is partially out, but the tide actually goes way out at that beach. So if it was totally out, you would not even see that little bit of water right there. Like, it would be out way further.
Yeah.
That's a tide. That's like a tidelands beach, and you can go out a long way.
That is cool. Is that where is it that one beach that Jenny and Jackie got like almost stuck in?
Oh, a different beach, but similar in the way that the tide goes way out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Karen.
Okay, I'm going to, you can let me know. I'm going to just
totally.
let people know kind of what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to grab some burnt sienna. I'm going to just put a little bit of color here. And because I'm starting with a blank canvas, I'm going to grab a big brush. I'm going to put down a little bit of water, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be very much at all, but I just want to get a little bit down. And then I'm just going to put the paint straight on there. And I'm going to get a little bit of burnt sienna backdrop kind of color, and then we'll see what it looks like. And we might do a little bit of kind of, if you don't have burnt sienna, that's okay. I try to pick, I don't always know what colors. People are always asking what I'm going to paint on and stuff like that. And sometimes I don't always know what I'm going to do, so I say white. And then I was thinking today, well, I better try to keep the color that I put on there kind of simple. Burnt sienna is a fairly common color, so that's why I went with it. But if you don't have it, that's okay. You don't need to have it. You can use something else. But I'm going to now take a paper towel, and I'm going to do a little bit of the drawing with just taking off some paint, okay? So some land back here. And I'm going to keep this pretty accurate to what I see. At least that's my goal right now.
When I use zinc white as a glaze to push back a background, it comes out splotchy. Do you wet your surface first?
Is when you use zinc white as a glaze, what was the question?
To push a background. When you use zinc white as a glaze to push a background, it comes out splotchy.
Oh, okay. Are you taking it off, or are you just putting it on? Like sometimes you can just use it very thin and just go like this. Are you doing that, or are you putting it on and then coming back with a paper towel or something like that? Like I'm doing here. Like sometimes on a glaze, I might do it. I might wipe everywhere. I guess I'm wondering if that's part of the splotchiness, if it's partly how you're taking it off, or if you're not taking it off at all, or what. I don't really know the answer right now.
Can you gesso over a bad oil painting, then paint on it with acrylic?
No, I don't recommend. I wouldn't recommend that, because the oil is gonna dry. It's still drying technically. Like even if it's been years, it's still kind of drying. And the way that it, I mean, it might never do anything bad in your lifetime or in my lifetime, but eventually, like if you do that, it's gonna fail at some point. So that's why they basically say you never want to really use oil on top of acrylic, or acrylic on top of oil. You can do it the other way around really easily though. Okay, now I'm gonna grab I'm gonna grab a little bit of this color. This is, I'm just kind of having fun right now. This is quinacridone magenta. This is kind of a more of a violet red. It leans much more towards violet, and you can see that even as I put it on, it's actually taking off some of the old color that I just put down. So maybe I'll go over the whole thing. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just do some of this. Maybe I'll get out my burnt sienna again. I don't even know. We're just enjoying the creative process, and some of it, sometimes you have an idea and then the idea changes because of what happens on the canvas. And I wasn't really planning to use burnt sienna again, but looks like I will. So I'm going to grab some of it, and look at that. You know what's interesting to me is I actually need to check this out. Burnt sienna always feels like it's a transparent color to me, but when I'm putting it on right now, it feels a little bit more opaque than transparent.
Gigi, never had to put Friday Night Live in slow mode. That'll be the day. There's so many people watching. I have to put Friday Night in slow mode. Only in the master class. But I was just gonna say, Jed, you know that that Mark Hansen interview that we did?
Yeah.
Or that you did this month for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back, watched it through, picked out the good timestamps, you know.
Oh,
and,
cool.
He awakened my like inner outdoorsman, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know.
And then I was looking at his you know, some of his paintings, and they're just so inspiring. I was like, man, I want to go fish.
Yeah, he is. I didn't even talk to him about that part, but he's quite the outdoorsman.
Yeah.
But
he mentioned Renee, it in the thing. He was like, I grew up hunting. I still fish regularly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he might have mentioned a little bit, but I was actually thinking about asking him more specific questions that I never did, because Renee told me that he had, I don't know where she read it, but she was looking up some information on him and found that he is quite avid. I think even with maybe even stuff like marathons or mountain biking, or I don't know, some more sporty kind of stuff, as well as the fishing and hunting. And
Nice.
so, but I meant to ask him about it and I never did.
Bummer. Maybe when we can get him around again someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love his paintings. They're just beautiful.
They are.
And they're pretty detailed too.
Yeah, he gets a fair amount of, I mean, they're still pretty loose because they're pretty like a lot of times they're pretty decent size. Like some of those that you're looking at, like that we looked at together, were 40 by 60. They're really big.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, he's a great artist though, and he's an interesting guy to talk to. I really enjoy the times I've been able to talk to him. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the interview. The background is freshly painted. He like just added that. So
yeah, I'm just coming through with some darks. My drawing basically is gone. So I'm coming back now with some of my darks to try to get some of the ideas back in place with where things are. Because when I brought out the second layer of the background toning color, I essentially erased what was there, what I had drawn. It's okay.
The artist I was talking about, guys, is Mark Hansen. If you Google Mark Hansen art, we had him on for an interview for Acrylic University members. So they got to listen to him and ask him questions and stuff.
Mark with a C.
Yep.
Mark with a C. So one thing that's kind of interesting in this is I don't know, and I don't necessarily care that much, I guess, but I don't know for this actual competition. I don't know if they care if it's how accurate this is. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, I'm generally going to be doing it fairly accurately, but who knows what it will end up looking like.
Yes, Jed is using the phthalo blue green shade.
Yep, the green shade. Yep. And I'm really just I have what I have. The mix right here is phthalo blue green shade with some naphthol red. It's created a dark, more of a grayish blue. And then I'm just adding white to it as it's going back in the distance to create a little bit more atmosphere. And
I love Jed's painting and would love to join Acrylic University. That's fantastic. Well, we have a masterclass coming up in a few weeks, and then we'll be welcoming new members. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're going to mention that tonight. We've been working on a new masterclass with our amazing fellow artist and instructor, Diana Shine. And so we're super excited to bring that to fruition and to announce it. Like tonight's kind of one of the first times that we're really talking about it publicly, but it's going to happen March 21st through the 25th. And it's called the Color Mastery Boot Camp. And it is going to be fantastic. And
Yep. The Color Mastery Bootcamp is available to everyone, members and non-members. And we'll be releasing more information about that. Gigi says it's pronounced Gigi. Thanks for letting me know. I know I mispronounce people's names all the time on here, so always open to correction with that.
Yeah, please thank you for your graciousness with us. We need your grace.
Yeah.
I was thinking back and thinking about the time that somebody had asked us a question about should they switch to acrylics, and how you laughed at the question because you were like, well, of course we're going to say yes to that. I mean, that's our thing. And it was actually kind of offensive to them, and we had to apologize, like, oh, sorry, we did not mean that to be offensive. We were just laughing because it was kind of a setup question for us. It's like, what we would always say.
Well, do I have a thing or two to tell you? Yeah. That kind of thing. Of course we're going to tell you yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. Yeah, we'll be posting more information about that. So just keep in mind. But go ahead, Jed. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, no worries. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun. Just painting. Just enjoying painting. It's been actually, well, I did paint yesterday. But some days I don't always get to paint. So today's a good day. Awesome. And it's fun to paint with friends.
Yeah. Totally.
Hey, is there anybody out there who's painting along? If you are, say hi. Let us know. Getting this rock in here, working on. What I like is just having different colors that are already mixed. So if I want to intermix colors, I can easily grab something that is kind of already in the works. It just makes it a little bit quicker of a process.
Yeah, lots of people painting along with you, Jed.
Oh, cool.
Glenna, yes. Christine, yes. Amy, yes. Nancy, trying. Laverne, painting. Tracy says, I'm trying. Painting along. Fantastic. Margaret, you guys are so brave trying to keep up with Jed.
Well, especially man, what I would say on a painting like this is I would just look at try to find the reference photo. I think Peter's got it there so you could download it. And I would just follow that. And I'm probably going to be all over the place because I'm kind of making up my strategy as I go. Sometimes I have a much more clear idea of, how I'm going to approach something. And it probably is easier to follow when I do. And today, I really don't. I really kind of just kind of.
Jen Jones, I will paint in the morning. Tonight is too late for me. I'm watching this in bed. That sounds amazing. I love chilling and just watching something in bed. It is so nice.
Yeah, and I was just saying, I'm just kind of making stuff up as I go, really. I'm just kind of going with the idea that we can have fun in art. And, actually, part of it is like I was over at where we used to have our studio, and I was working on my computer over there for a while, but I saw a few people that I know, and one of them, who's an artist, was asking me something, and we just got talking about how important it is to have fun in art, and how, you know, if you're only painting, you know, she was mentioning this person that is a great, you know, artist and does making a fine living as an artist and everything, but as who is also commenting on that because they've been, I think, doing a lot of commissions, a lot of things for the gallery, and a lot of just kind of work that is for a specific purpose and for a reason, and just not necessarily as having as much fun with it. So they were really thinking about that emphasis, and so that's probably why it's in my head right now.
I think Mark talked about that. He said something like he did those acrylic sketches.
Oh yeah,
at the beginning.
totally.
And he said they were so nice because he's so used to having to paint for something.
Yeah, those are totally just for fun.
Yeah,
just to learn, just to get out there and do something.
Yeah,
that's great.
It is great, and I like the patience he was talking about too. He was like, sometimes I'll drive past a scene 20 or 30 times before I draw it or paint it. And he's like, and I'm mapping out the details in my head and stuff like that.
That's so interesting. Yeah,
it's very cool. What are your wedding colors, and will Willow be your wedding planner?
Willow?
That's funny. Yeah. No, Willow is not our wedding planner, although I'm sure she would do a fabulous job. Our colors are going to be emerald green and some sort of rusty orange, I think. Kind of like a foresty, rustic feel. What we're going for. So
cool.
Yeah. Are you still at the Camino Bakery?
Yeah, that's where I was today. But I mean, I'm not there anymore. No. I'm at home now. Just joking. What I mean is, yes, we do not have a studio there. I was just trying to be funny by saying, like, no, I'm not still there, you know, currently. I'm here doing this. But we were there for about 2.5 years, I think. And we had a 3-year lease, and we got out of it 6 months early because, well, it was the pandemic, and it was not making sense for us to stay there right then. So it was a good decision. I miss it sometimes, but it was the right decision. Now, so much about this is, don't be afraid to screw up your painting. A lot of times you have to screw up your painting to get it better, if that makes any sense at all. Like, so be bold, you know, just kind of like, if you need to do something, usually it's better to just make a bigger brush strokes. And really what I'm thinking about and what I'm working on right now, it may not be that apparent to you, but you saw, I came in here and I just did a bunch of darker stuff, and I kind of like brought it all the way over, and I connected it because I'm really just thinking about design, and I want things to read well from the big picture and from a distance kind of. And so what you have to do is you have to connect your darks a lot more than you might think. You have to you just have to do big picture kinds of things, and that doesn't necessarily mean that much. But if you're just thinking about an individual part of your painting all by itself, you can paint that one area really well. But if it doesn't really tie in with the rest of the painting and work with the overall design, it doesn't really matter how nice that one area is. It could be over here. It could be over here. like those are the kinds of things that in the end, you look at your painting and you think, well, shoot, this looks pretty good. And this looks pretty good. And this looks good, but it doesn't work as a whole painting. You end up wanting to cut your painting, and get, I got like 3 little paintings out of it. But when you are trying to get the overall painting together, sometimes it means that you almost mess up an area to create a better whole. And that's what I'm talking about. Is I'm looking at right now, a lot of what I'm doing is just based on what will be good in the long term for the painting as a whole. And most of the time when I start thinking about that, I start thinking about really big picture kind of stuff, and it's almost always related to design.
Uh-oh, Jed, you got caught red-handed. Tim said, question, Jed did not do a value sketch.
Absolutely not. Which is part of, I don't mean to say like, oh, you like that was a good thing. I'm just saying, no, I didn't. And that's part of why you see me, I'm going to be making changes. I'm thinking more about the design now rather than, having an idea already in my head that I've already thought through. It was one of the things, like I looked at the image before like a few days ago when I was thinking about painting it, and I thought just, oh yeah, I think I can do something with that. But I didn't sit down with it. I didn't do any of that stuff that I recommend. And I'll probably struggle more because of that. It makes a big difference. And sometimes the best way to teach is by doing it the wrong way. And then people see, oh yeah, I never want to do it like that, right? You'll be very wise sometimes to observe my mistakes and stay away from them. But there's all this, you can see in the photograph how there's so much seaweed that kind of ends up settling on the very top of all the sand. It's always a little bit of a bummer when you're walking around out there because you're stepping on seaweed a lot of times instead of sand. But I'm deciding to put it in because one thing is it's accurate, and the other is I don't have a reason to change it yet. Sometimes after I put something in and I look at it, then I see something that I would rather change or make an adjustment. But right now I don't really have any reason to not put it in, so I'm just going with what it looks like until I see a better option or a reason to change.
Pretty sure Jed's using a 12 by 16 canvas.
Yep, this 12 by 16. I'm gonna put in something for the sky, and actually I'm gonna go bold and go with a yellow sky. What was that, Peter? Are you starting?
I was just gonna say, paint opacity isn't related to the brand of paint.
Paint opacity is not?
Yeah.
Well, it's not related to, it's the pigments are all the same technically, like you're saying. So that has nothing to do with the brand, as long as it's the same pigment. But what is kind of related to opacity and can differ in brands is the amount of pigment that they put in. So
Gotcha.
it could be something like if it's a cheaper brand, or if it's a hue, or if it's like a student grade paint versus an artist grade paint. Sometimes what you'll find is you'll have the paint just ends up being more transparent because it's just low quality. And that's what I've talked about before with yellows. It's why I always recommend yellows and whites and some of the different colors to be like, don't buy the cheap brands. Go ahead with other colors if you need to or want to, but with these certain ones, don't use the cheap ones, because you'll never be able to get the same kind of color out of them. They'll just always be thin and transparent, and they won't cover. For instance, like what I'm just doing right here, if this was not a good white, if this was not a good yellow, it would not cover. And I'll probably still need to do another color on there, but it's at least closer to covering than if it was. Trying to see, that's probably a little bit accurate, but yeah, you're totally right, Peter. That's the only caveat to what you said. So how do you paint a yellow sky and not make it look like a sunset? That's the thing that we're working on today. We'll see if we can do it.
Do people asking why you went with a yellow sky?
Oh, for fun. We're having lots of fun today. And
good answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's really my only answer. I don't have a more, artistic reason. I just think sometimes it's fun to experiment with different colors and see what will happen. And it's very easy to just follow the scene as it is. I mean, that's what all of us would do all the time if we didn't every once in a while just think, well, what would happen? What will happen? Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, so like that's why I just said, well, now the sky's yellow. Can I still make it look like it's a daytime scene with everything that's going on? Or will it somehow look like it's a nighttime, evening, sunset scene now? Well, I'll have to see. I don't know for sure what I'll be able to do, but it'll be very easy for me. If I don't like this, I'll cover it over with blue later, or green or red. I mean, why couldn't it be a red sky? Like, I don't know. So I do some stuff for my own sake, and then every once in a while I do stuff for your sake too. And I know that the tendency for people is just to paint it exactly like you see it. And there's nothing exactly wrong with that. But because it's the natural thing that people do, and it's the easy thing for people to do, sometimes I just say, well, why not just paint it yellow right now? And part of it is so that you can see what happens if it's painted differently. But good question, because I mean, I feel like we do things out of habit. We kind of, oh boy, got a visitor coming in. Two visitors. Who can guess?
Not a difficult guess.
There we go. There they are. Big Silver. He ran outside on me.
Aw.
And my cutie. So thanks for coming in.
Miss you both.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. Silver ran out on me when I opened the door. He sprinted away. He's infatuated with the idea of being outside, and part
so
of it
funny.
is, yeah, I know, he just loves it. And I mean, there's a big part of me that would love to just let him go out there, but I said it so many times. Every time I think about it, Renee tells me, can you imagine, how devastated Willow would be if Silver died? And we have a friend that, in fact, Renee just was talking to her friend who said, yeah, they've had 3 cats and that were eaten by coyotes in the last few years. Now they have a cat and they say, no, the cat can't go out. So
yeah.
It's hard to communicate it to Silver though. He thinks he's tougher than he is.
Like a 21-year-old with a fast car.
Yeah. You don't understand, Silver. For real. "21-year-old with a fast car." That's funny, man. I like that.
It's true. You think you're unbeatable.
Yep.
Nothing can stop you.
Until that coyote runs in front of your car and forces you to stop, and you go, "Oh, I've never thought of this situation
that
before."
That actually happened to me when I was living with you guys.
Oh, really?
He ran in front of my car. I think I told you about that, but it was on a specific day when we're all not having a very good day at all.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was terrible.
That's a bummer. What happened?
Yeah.
Did you just see it and stop, or what? Or just
I couldn't react. It was pitch black, pretty much. It darted out in front of my car, and I didn't hit it. I don't think I hit it fully. I think it glanced off the side, but I felt really bad regardless. And I was like, I did not need this today.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably did. You probably told me, but I just forgot. Yeah, we saw they're pretty small, like when you get up close to them. But we saw one that was dead on the side of the road. We're driving one day, and we spotted it, and of course I turned around because I'm like, it was just right on the side of the road, and it looked like, it looked like it was just sleeping. So we pulled over, went back and looked at it, and then Willow fell in love with coyotes. She's like, she thought it was the cutest thing ever. She was so sad that it had been, that it died. But
they are pretty dang cute.
They are cute. They're actually quite cute. But it's interesting too, because they're I don't remember if I told you, I was over at some people's house and they were saying how they're really smart, they're really intelligent, and they'll try to lure other animals out. Do you remember? I think we talked about that at one point. But these people had a dog, like a puppy or something. And this pack of, what they realized is because that all of a sudden there was this young coyote in their yard, kind of like playing, like putting his paws down and acting like it was playing with their dog.
Oh my gosh.
And it was basically trying to lure it out. That's what they kind of determined, is that it was trying to lure the dog out so that the pack could kill the dog. Isn't that nuts? So, that part's, I guess, worth noting. Don't play with the little baby.
Lynn, my husband hit a moose in Ontario. Is your husband okay?
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's the kind of animal that really is not good to, I mean,
yeah,
I don't think there's any animal that's good to hit, but man, those big moose, I mean, like, I think that's like probably kills a high percentage of people that hit a moose die, because it just goes like it goes right through the windshield, because you hit them like at their knees and their body comes
right. Yeah, that's freaky. Doug, if you're out there, there was this is a while ago, like 5 or 6 years, but the pastor at the time, his wife hit a moose in between Spokane and Chihuahua.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got hurt pretty bad, but she survived, thankfully.
You were saying that to Doug?
Yeah.
Oh, because of his Chihuahua connection?
Yeah. Yep. He's from Chihuahua.
Gotcha. So I see in this reflection here, I'm just going to explain a little bit about what I'm doing. Like, what I see is this value here is darker than it needs to be. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to lighten some of this. But what I see is there's a little bit of light in this reflection here. It looks to me kind of like the water is lighter over here, and then it gets a little darker in the actual reference photo up there. And so I'm going to kind of I'm working on having this look like a sunny day. And part of what this means is I'm going to bring a little bit of warmer tones into some of the sandy or the rocky areas. Bring up the values a little bit, because now that I have every part of the canvas, pretty much every part of the canvas is covered, I can see the values better than I could when I didn't have everything covered. So and this is a case in which, having layers is not necessarily a bad thing. If you like some extra texture or some variety in your painting, even if you don't get the color perfect the first time, like I'm coming back over and maybe it'll be right this time, maybe it will still need a little bit of work, but what's happening is you're kind of creating a little bit of built-in interest, because it's getting more nuanced. It's not one flat color. You've got some hints of other colors in there, and so all of that, you can look at it like a mistake, or you can think of it like, oh, an interesting part of the underpainting, right? And a lot of times paintings that I've worked on and I've thought, oh shoot, I messed that part up, it ends up being kind of an interesting part of a painting for that exact reason. And there's a lot of areas that, as I'm looking at it, there's room for some more color and the effect of the light hitting sides of trees and all sorts of stuff. I'm going to come into these trees. I want to get a slightly darker color. I want it to be darker than this, lighter than this. I think still a little bit darker.
Diane says, I want to challenge myself when I do paint for one of my photos. I want to not copy everything, but to edit and change things to make it better. That is a great way to challenge yourself. Fantastic. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, for sure.
That's also how you kind of develop your own style.
Yeah, it's a really good practice. And even just to realize that you can, and to feel the freedom to do it is an important step, because a lot of times I think a lot of people just never quite realize that they have that opportunity. So yeah, it's a good goal. We hope it goes great for you and it opens up a kind of a new door to your own creativity. And it will be challenging. I always think it's good to go in knowing like, yeah, it'll probably have some challenges. Expect to be a little bit stuck every once in a while, not knowing what to do, or like, I know that that's one of the things that happens to me is when I veer off from my reference, if I veer really far, or if I'm, on the occasion when I'm painting something completely from my imagination. And I was doing something the other day. It was a painting that I've been working on for quite a while, and my dad came over and I said, yeah, I think I'm done with this one. I think I'm going to paint over it. And I did. I actually just finally took it. I've been working on it off and on, not like all the time, but it wasn't a big painting. But I ended up spending a couple hours the other night working on it. And then it was totally not working. It was getting worse. It kept getting worse. And part of it was that I was making the whole thing up. And so that's okay. But it's actually a really great way to paint. So, I think it's one of the ways that you should paint every once in a while, at least, with your imagination. Just use your imagination, come up with stuff, think through ideas, all that kind of thing. But the challenge is that you don't have anything to refer back to besides your memory or your, what you've experienced before. So it's got its challenges. And that's part of how you grow. So if you never encounter that, you never even think through.
Oh, Teresa. Okay. Yeah, we can't do closed captioning live while it's happening. But as long as we don't play copyrighted music in our videos, you should be able to watch it with closed captioning afterwards. Yeah.
And we're not planning to play closed caption, planning to play copyrighted music. It's just that every once in a while we've done it on certain videos that we ended up playing on a live thing. But everything else is closed caption and easy to get to after the fact.
Can you list the times that you are available to join AU? We only know that the next one is going to be at the end of March. Next time to join AU will be at the end of March after the color boot camp.
Basically, you can count on it being that one. The date would be March 25th.
Yep.
And you might as well join the boot camp because that's going to be tons of fun and you get a lot out of it. If you have that time available, of course. You may not, but
yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with hyperrealism. For sure. I know what speaks to me personally is seeing how the artist interprets a scene. And that's kind of what really moves me for artwork, but also I can see myself loving to do hyperrealism. And it takes a lot of skill, so hyperrealism is definitely just as valid as any other style of art. Guna, I'm not seeing any of your other questions. I'm scrolling back trying to find them. And I don't. Oh, where's the reference photo? I didn't get it beforehand. Jed, do you have it? Maybe you could send it to me and I can throw it up there.
It's in assets. If you go in assets on the thing, go up a little ways. It's in there.
Oh, cool. I see it. All right. I will add I'll post a link in chat, guys, for the reference photo for you guys.
It's a pretty small reference photo, so it might be a little
small.
bit underwhelming in terms of its size. The actual file size is small, but hopefully it's enough that you can see enough details. So you can see that I'm bringing in another a lighter value here for those background hills.
Is there an extra charge for members for Color Boot Camp? Nope. Free for everyone. Totally free. No extra charge. Free for members and non-members. When Jed paints a smaller painting, does he use a smaller brush or does he use the same brush most of the time, and what size does he use?
I use a lot of the same brushes. I mean, they overlap, but the bigger the painting, the bigger the brush. They go generally, the size will go from about a number 4 on the small end to a number 16 on the big end. And then I have some extra big ones that are not so much. They're just like this one, which is a house painting brush. And that is what I use for certain washes or things like that. But most, like this is a number 10. And so on a painting this size, you're going to see me go from about a 4 to a number 12. I don't really get into the number 16 that much on this size.
All right, guys, I added a link to the reference photo. Refresh your stream, and it will show up in the description if you want it. Jed keeps his paints wet using a Stay Wet palette. There's a link in the description for that, by the way.
This is exactly why I said Peter knows about 95% of the answers to the questions. So
yeah,
it makes it kind of easy for me.
Is there a link to sign up for the Color Boot Camp? Not yet.
Man, I am like so close.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it done. In fact, it was part of what I got a little bit late a head start on getting ready for tonight. Part of the reason probably I don't have design on here because I was working on that, but I didn't get it done. So no, I'm sorry, not quite.
But soon, there will be one very soon.
Next week for sure. Maybe even tomorrow, but it's coming. It'll be there.
Yep. And tell your friends.
All you have to do is go to acrylicuniversity.com. That'll be where you'll at least find the link, the direct link to the page that will have
when it's up.
The sign up. It'll be obvious. And honestly, guys, it's going to be so cool. Like I've been talking to Diana because she's going to do the majority of the teaching on it. I'm going to be like, I thought of this because I was thinking about the name of it. It's called the Color Mastery Boot Camp, and I was thinking how it's kind of ironic. I created this image for it. Hey, Peter, you want to flash that image on the screen? Show people. Oh, somebody says the photo's not working. You're probably working on that. But we'll show you a photo of the thing. But anyways, I was thinking how the mastery is related a lot more to Diana, and I'm a lot more related to the boot camp. So I'll be there getting everybody hyped up and painting, and then I'm going to actually be more like participating in the boot camp, and Diana's going to be doing the teaching. But all that to say that I've talked with her several times about what she's teaching on, and we kind of work together on the idea behind it, and I'm super excited about it. You're going to love it. You're going to get a lot out of it. Talking about her, she's got some seriously amazing ideas on color mixing and how to create colors. She's very systematic about some of her methods, and I think you're just going to find them to be super helpful in thinking through understanding color, understanding why things work the way they work, but then also really getting a good handle on the actual practical color mixing and how to create colors very thoughtfully when you're, and not just guessing, oh, well, how do I create that? And then, kind of just randomly picking colors. You're going to be grabbing colors with a lot of confidence because she's going to give you these incredible ways to think through and decide what needs to happen with your colors that you're trying to create your painting with. And I know that it's going to be helpful because we took a survey a couple years ago and we got so many questions on color. And so I know it's a big issue. I know it is for me. I know that it's something that I've had to learn a ton about, and I still don't know hardly anything. But I know that for most artists, it's one of the main question areas, because it seems like a really daunting topic. And I think a lot of times we have, there have been trains of thought that kind of can communicate things in a complicated way and make it even feel maybe more confusing than it needs to be. I've talked to a lot of people, even with the courses that we have, that I've made, plus the ones that Diana's made on Acrylic University, that people will say to me, like, I have taken lots and lots of courses on color, and I've never heard it explained in an easier to understand way. So that's what this will
be. It'll be great. And Diane asked, this is completely new curriculum, so that's how it'll be different from the past two.
Yep. New master class.
Someone asks, what are you gonna do, or basically what's your plan for those grasses in the front right?
My plan is to try to make them look good.
How helpful.
I'm sorry. That's like the only thing I could think of because I don't have a plan. But hey, we're having fun, right?
Yes,
I'm
we
going
are.
to come into them. I mean, my plan generally is always to communicate the essence of what is here with kind of the most efficient brush strokes and the most efficient way that I can. So I don't want to sit here and go like this. I'm not going to be, kind of breaking out my little brush and coming in and, doing 100 pieces of grass. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to try to communicate the idea of grass without doing all of that. So I have some general ideas of, that, but I don't have a real formulated plan that I could necessarily communicate better than what I just tried. So hopefully what I said makes sense a little bit, at least. One thing I would say is these colors that are getting closer to us, you can see this yellow that I just put in is brighter. It's more chrome, like it's highly saturated when you compare it to the stuff that's back further. And so part of that is that really is how you communicate depth in a painting. That stuff that's closer to us is more saturated than the stuff that's farther away. So there will be some detail that's brought into this area because we want it to we want it to feel real and like it's part of the natural world, and we want it to communicate that it is closer to us. So it makes sense a lot of times to have some smaller details or brush strokes or things that will be on that kind of idea. But I'm not planning to get really, really small and really, really tight with it. I'm going to get a little bit of phthalo blue here because there's not a ton of water in this middle area, but I kind of want it to, the water that is there, I kind of want it to stand out. And I feel like I have an opportunity to use some negative shapes here that could be, I feel like it could be kind of cool if I can do this well. This is the kind of thing that I know it can be done well. It's also fairly time consuming to do this well. What might make it a little bit easier for me, and I'm just going to do something that you could, this might be kind of like a shortcut or something, but because of, it's a little bit complicated to make sure that you're staying in the right place when you're doing this, what's called negative shape painting. I'm going to just do this so that I know at least what I'm painting is kind of going to stay within the lines. And then I can think mostly about where the grass is, right? I can just kind of come through like this. I'm only thinking about one set of potentially complicating things to keep track of.
Jed's just using masking tape.
Yeah, it's just normal masking tape.
The website won't let me sign in to even look at the course, and there's a waiting list. Is that correct? Yeah. So in between when we accept new members, there is a waiting list. And you can only sign in if you're a member, because everything on the other side of that is for members only. But at the end of March, we'll be doing a free masterclass that's free to everyone, members and non-members, and it kind of gives you a taste of what Acrylic University is like. And then after that, you get an opportunity to join Acrylic University if you'd like. And yeah, so that's why you can't log in right now.
There are some things that you can definitely, if you look up at the top of the links, you can see there's a free resources page, and there's a few videos in there similar to these. Some of them are Friday Night Live videos from the past. There's there's a number of articles in there, lots of content in that way. So there is quite a bit that you can access if you just go to that free resource page, but not the actual inside of the website. So I don't know. I'm just kind of going here.
How do you become a member? Kathy, we open membership periodically throughout the year. So the next time that we're accepting new members is at the end of March 25th. But a lot of people here are Acrylic University members currently, because we do some public events and stuff like that. So you're in good company, and we're glad to have you.
So one thing that I've always appreciated when I've seen it in paintings is this idea of some brush strokes being, so like I've created some water, and then we've got some of this yellow goes through and it's a little bit brighter, and then there's some stuff that's, you know, just painted by adding some of the background, right? So like I put in a little bit of water back here, and now we can see, oh, there's a grass, you know, something from the grass that's coming through here. And then what you can do is you can kind of tie it back in with something like that. And so you have a little bit of positive brush stroke going into a negative brush stroke, and it creates a little bit more interest than even if it was just like one full brush stroke. So variety and thinking through the kind of like the way that you can use value, like for instance, like it's darker, the piece of grass right here is darker than the water, but up here it's lighter than the green area back there. So you can play with that kind of idea as you're painting, and it will create a little bit more interest than if you just were making one big brush stroke the whole way down.
Danielle says, new AU member here, joined after the recent masterclass and loving everything about it. This is my first time to attend this Friday Night Live. So fun. So glad you are enjoying it. And welcome to Acrylic University, Danielle. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah.
Reference photos in the description. Masterclass emails about enrollment. You'll get those if you're if you sign up for the masterclass, you'll get all the emails about enrollment.
And if you sign up on the waiting list right now too, that's the one thing you can do. I should say is like you can just go to our website, press the button that says start your journey, and sign up on the waiting list, and that will get you all the information. You'll still have to register for the actual masterclass, but it will tell you when the doors when it's available and when the doors open and everything like that. So it is a good place to sign up right now, even though it's not the official page for the masterclass. Oops. Then we've got these logs that are closer to us, and they'll be kind of fun, I think, to put in because they've got some highlights on them and some areas of interest, and the light value here is going to stand out a lot. And this rock here also can be kind of interesting, I believe. I say this a lot when I paint, but you never know when. It's funny about teaching is you don't really want to repeat yourself all the time, but you find yourself repeating yourself all the time because, for one thing, it's new people. There's new people that are watching, so they may never have heard what you're saying. And the other thing is that there's only a handful of things that are actually super, super important, and you're always working on those things. And so if you're hearing things that you hear me say a lot, I kind of apologize, but I kind of don't, because that's how we learn, is through repetition. And I know that for myself, it's even through painting and thinking about what I'm doing that I remember things that I already know, but I forgot. Or I forgot to implement it at the time, and then I think, oh, why isn't this working? Okay, I need to do this, oh, how could this be better? Oh yeah, I should do that, And so I assume that I'm not the only person who's like that. Even if you've heard me say something, many times, there's probably times when you still forget it, just like I do.
Ellen says, I've so missed Jed's classes last challenge. I wasn't the right place to join last time, but I've been thinking about it ever since. Well, we're so glad to be back with you. A few people have also mentioned they miss the regular Friday Night Lives, and we miss it too.
Yeah. We have such a good time. Peter and I were just talking about that before we got on here. It was like, oh man, it's good to be together again. Hey, we're looking forward to it. And we totally do. We love hanging out. Like, honestly, for me, this is super fun. We enjoy spending time.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time to people because it's just the truth, but like, it's a two-way street. Like, even though we can't see, I mean, if it wasn't for Peter, I wouldn't know what you were saying. So, I mean, obviously, like, I need Peter, not just for the interaction with him, but so that we can interact with you. But because we have that dynamic where Peter's with me and we can hear, I can hear your voice through Peter, and Peter can read what you're saying, and he's interacting with you even more than I know, because I know that he's typing stuff and doing all sorts of stuff that I can't even see. But it really is a two-way street. And so I know some people every once in a while have a hard time, figuring out how to chat and different things like that. And I mean, hopefully you do end up figuring it out, or, we can't help everybody because everybody's situation is a little different. We can point you in the right direction, how to chat, but it is, we do appreciate you guys interacting, and it's fun for us, and it's really made a difference for us in the long term.
People are asking, wouldn't the yellow sky get reflected in the water?
You would think so, but I could show you a bunch of cool paintings that don't do that. And you would look at them and you go like, that's really interesting. I would have thought that the sky would get reflected down there. And probably in real life it did get reflected down there. But when you're painting, you don't have to do everything that you see. And every once in a while, you'll find that, like the design of a painting will get helped by doing something different than what you see. And I'm still, to be honest, I'm still kind of reserving whether the sky up there should stay yellow. So I don't know if I'll keep the sky yellow. So I'm definitely not going to do something down here until I kind of like figure that out. And to me, it's a little bit easier. I could change the sky to a light blue and change it back quicker than I could change this color in here because of all these little details and cutting around all that stuff. So that's why I'm just like letting it be right now. And that's also why I'm okay with the reflection. I wish I could pull up, my computer's not working correctly right now to where I can pull up pictures and show you. Usually I can, and I just have to adjust something, but I don't have it quite there. But let me see. But basically, if you okay, projecting. Yeah, it's too difficult for me to figure stuff out while I'm doing my stuff here, but I could show you even paintings of mine that I've done it differently, and I'm thinking through some of that stuff, and I'm like, well, should I? One painting I had this very pink, kind of a pink and almost orange and pink sky, and I had a ditch coming toward me, and I'm pretty sure I had painted the sky and painted the reflection the same. The reflection was pink, and you know what? It wasn't working. And I came back and I thought, shoot, I wonder if I should do a gradation from, kind of a darker violet kind of blue up into, this area. So it was a little bit of a warmer blue, and it went up and it became very light, kind of like that color up towards the top of the ditch. And I remember like painting it, and when I got done with it, I'm like, oh shoot, that was awesome. And that just finished the painting. And that was the last thing I did on the painting, because it tied for whatever reason, it just kind of tied everything together. And so, yes, you're right in reality, but in art, sometimes the design can be positively affected by doing something different.
Yeah. Somebody so somebody said that I believe water absorbs yellow and red color waves but reflects blue waves. And then a couple people were interested by that and asked if you knew anything about that, Jed.
What was it? Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Somebody said that I believe water absorbs yellow and red color waves but reflects blue waves.
Water absorbs? I honestly, I don't understand that.
I think what he's saying is water absorbs yellow and red light but reflects blue light.
Oh, light. Oh, yeah. Rays. Were you saying rays?
Waves. Well, he said waves, but I think he meant like light rays.
Yeah. He means light. I'm sure he means light by that. The wavelength of, yeah. There is something about that. Like, I was so thrown off by the word waves that I almost have to like think through what he said again. But yes, there is something about the way that water reflects and like grabs. It's like I'm thinking back to our module on water, and I totally learned something very directly related to that. And I don't remember what the details of it are, but there is something kind of unique about it. But I wouldn't say that that's what's happening here. In this case, like, this is a small amount of water, and usually it will be pretty reflective. Like in the photograph, you can see it's pretty reflective of the sky above it and the clouds above it and stuff.
What did you use to erase that color? A paper towel?
What color?
I'm not sure. They might be behind a bit.
Yeah, I did. I have used a paper towel at the very beginning. I used a paper towel.
Yeah, I think they could be behind, and that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, paper towel. Also, they'll get that answer like
40 minutes later. Yeah. Yo,
thanks for your question. We weren't ignoring you.
Yeah. It depends on where you are on the stream. And also, we have a lot more people, so it's hard to get to everything.
Well, and so what you're saying, though, is that basically somebody could like go back and start it at the very beginning, right? But when they chat, it would come up for you like they're with us right now.
Like they just asked it, yeah.
That's really funny. Oh, man.
Yeah, definitely complicates
all the complications of weird live streaming stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
See, look at this. I'm going to come back, and I'm painting a more natural blue color over here. I'm leaving a little bit. In fact, I might leave. This could be kind of fun. Here, I'm going to do something. I'm going to think about leaving some clouds in the sky. We'll see what it looks like. Don't know.
A few people have asked if there's anything specific going through your head when you chose red as your base color.
Not really. If you're around me long enough, you'll know that I don't have that much going through my head ever. I'm just kind of... That was supposed to be a joke, Peter. Peter, you were supposed to laugh at that. Like,
no, I was
you were like,
agreeing
no,
with.
you just took that in stride. Like, yep. He doesn't
No. I was
have
agreeing with the
anything
thing you
going
said
on in his
before
head.
that.
Bro,
Uh,
that hurts my feelings again, man. It's been a while since you've hurt my feelings, but that one really got me. But I really don't always. I mean, I do think through what I'm doing with the background colors a little bit, but not as much as what most people do. And so usually my answers are a little bit disappointing because I just say like, yeah, you can paint whatever you want on the background. And it's not really going to matter that much. So
yeah,
that's kind of
one thing I always tell people is yeah, there are a lot of questions. A lot of you have asked kind of similar questions that I haven't really asked, just for a similar reason, because I mean, Jed's a super like intuitive painter, and some of it's like there's not necessarily a real reason. It's kind of just what he felt like going with.
You can ask questions if you feel like it's a new question or something. Like, I'm happy to answer anything. Yeah. But I a lot of times what Peter's saying is if he asks me a question, I'll probably just say, I don't know. Like, I just did it because, it felt like the right thing to do at the time or something like that. And it might not be as helpful of an answer as you might think. Hope. But
so I kind of just, but
one Peter knows. Oh, man. Grabbing some phthalo blue up here. This phthalo blue might add a little bit of life to this sky, so it's kind of a fun color.
Yeah, there is something. It is important though, guys, because I think it'd be kind of frustrating to seem like there's or like you want there to be an objective answer to everything in painting, but I think it's really good to just kind of play around with stuff and see what happens,
There's kind of like, I think what it is if you're learning out or you're starting out and you're trying to figure stuff out, you want the answer that will give you the result that you're after. You want you just want to go like, oh, okay, I use this and this and this and definitely, like, I mean, we've done a lot of work
as much as we can.
Yeah, and we do a lot of work like that. Like, I would say, like, if you're in a course inside of Acrylic University or something like that, you'll be able to find more answers that are geared that way, just because there's more specific stuff. But there is a big part of art that this is part of the way that I've learned, and part of the way that I am, is that I've discovered that there's 1,000 ways to achieve a great painting. There's a million different artists in the world, and everybody goes about things slightly different, and there's some overlap, and I mean, but there's not one right answer on most of the questions. Like, what color should I paint for the background? What if it's this kind of scene? What color should I paint on a beach scene? What color should I paint on this? What color is sand? What color is skin? How do you mix this? How do you do that? Well, the problem is that in every painting, you're creating a unique environment.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere of the day is different. The sand is different. What beach it's like, I used to be a house painter. I had a house painting business years ago. And this was the question I used to hate. People would call and they'd say, could you just give me a ballpark price on how much it would paint my house? And
I get that all the time.
My house is 3,000 square feet, and it's and they'll try to describe it, and I'll say, look, you can't tell me enough information over the phone that I'm going to be able to I'm not even going to give you a price. I mean, there's no way I'm going to give you a price over the phone, because I mean, the price range is so drastically different depending on the details. And it's kind of like that in a painting. It's like, I mean, why did I paint red back there? Well, like honestly, it just because I had the brown, and then I was like, well, what color? I kind of want it to be darker. And I wasn't 100% sure I liked, like, well, I wasn't against the burnt sienna. I don't know why. I could have done another layer of it, but I just didn't. And so I used this red, and then it was kind of came off. It took off some of the brown underneath. So it ended up being more red than I kind of was thinking it would be, because it erased quite a bit of the burnt sienna.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make a difference, like, because you can see it through some of these areas.
Yeah.
So it's not that it doesn't make a difference. It's just that the painting could work on a different background just fine. And so in that way, it doesn't make that big of a difference. Like, I could have painted this on a black background, and people would be asking me, why did I paint it on a black background? I could have painted it on a gray, and people would ask, well, why did you paint it on a gray? And so that's the thing, is that if you watch me paint enough, you'll see that it really just depends on the day.
Yeah.
It's not a real predetermined reason. It's just like, definitely. Oh, we'll do this today, you know.
And somebody mentioned that painting is a fluid experience that changes as you experience it. And I think that's a really good point too, is like, even if, like Jeb was saying, there's 100 different ways to do these different things. And even if we're like, you know, do it this way, here's why I did it, that could change, like, on any given day, or depending on, you know, the scene you're painting or whatever. Like Jed mentioned.
Yeah. And everything's relative to itself. So
exactly,
you know, that's why, you know, like, you can say, well, what color are you painting the sand or the rocks or something? And I'd say, well, okay, I used, you know, ultramarine blue and naphthol red, and it was 60% this, 40% this, well, you know, 30% and 10% white or something like that, whatever the mixture is. And then, but if you got that locked in your head as, okay, that's the color of sand, or that's the color, whenever I paint that kind of thing, that's what I need to do. The problem is like, well, maybe your grass is maybe the whole day. What if this was a sunset? And what if everything was being influenced by that yellow, orange sunset sky, and everything was filtered with that kind of light? All of a sudden, the colors that I've used for the rocks here are going to be like completely wrong for that scene. And so the biggest things that you always are working with as an artist are observation and learning to adjust the things that you're seeing in your painting to make them relate to each other better. And if you can get those things, then you realize, like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter as much what I start with. So I was listening to this one artist a few days ago, and he was talking about a scene that he was painting, and what he said, he put a color down, and then he started painting colors like the other parts of the scene. And he said, he was talking about how he got the first color pretty close, but it wasn't perfect. And he said, but it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter that it's not perfect compared to the photo. What matters is that my next color is related to it properly. So that's, you're creating a painting, and the way that the painting works together is more important than what it relates with to a reference photo or the scene that you're looking at in real life. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
all that to say that we love you guys and we appreciate your questions, and we try our best to answer them. But that's kind of why I don't answer every single one, or I don't answer some. So,
and they're good questions. Like, it doesn't mean that they're bad questions either. And so we do want to, you know, acknowledge them and everything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll disappoint you with some of our answers for sure. I'm positive about
Yeah.
that.
No doubts.
There's some fun little flowers down here. I don't know what they are, but they look.
Somebody has a good point. They said, let's see. Never think of things as items such as sand. Think of them as shapes and how the value and color relates to the other shapes. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Because when we think of like sand, right, we have like a predetermined idea in our head of what sand looks like. And that's not what you want for art. Your left brain talking. Same thing with like water or sky, right? Like if we have a preset thing in our brain of like, this is what sky is, this is what water is, then we're going to really sell ourselves short as artists.
Yeah, there's a great quote. I'm trying to think of who it is, but one of the famous master artists from previous times said, "I do not paint things. I paint the difference between things." And that's kind of another way of saying that is like you're painting shapes and values and, you know, like you're not painting a rock or this grass. You're painting, you know, the values and the shapes and when you do that and you paint them related to each other well, like it reads well. That's why he says, I'm not painting things. I'm painting the space. I'm painting the difference between things, or however I said it the first time was accurate. But the difference between things, and very good. That's a good quote, though. That's a good good observation.
Yeah, the beach looks to have pebbles on one side. Will you attempt to put in some texture to represent those?
I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah, knowing Dead style, my guess would be no.
Well, now that you say that, no. Yeah, I really love this rock right here. I just want to make sure that the like it's kind of creating a bit of a focal point down here. Because it's kind of angled down, dark. Which I want to be thoughtful about it. I don't know if it's exactly what I want, but it is really fun to be creative though in the art process, and I think that's the other reason. I mean, one of the reasons that we have Diana as a instructor in Acrylic University.
Talk about that too.
One of the reasons that I was like, man, I needed help. I needed to get somebody who was really thorough in their explanations. I didn't even know what I needed, to be honest. But now, after having Diana be part of Acrylic University for the last couple of years, I'm like, oh my goodness, like she is such a good compliment to me because she's so thoughtful about everything. Like what I just told you, I didn't really think about what color I'm putting down. No, Diana would have all these thoughtful answers. She would not just randomly put down a color. She would have thought through exactly what color she was putting down and exactly why she was putting it down. And she would be able to explain it to you. And for some of you, that's going to be what you want, is you want to hear her say, this is why I did this, and this is why you would do this, and this is, this is why you wouldn't do this. And all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be the guy that's going to sit on the other side and be like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Like you can do it this way or you can do it that way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I'm wrong and she's right, or that I'm right and she's wrong. I can guarantee you that it's partly through interacting with her and other artists that I've realized, like, there's 1,000 ways of doing this. And we all have different ideas on the best way. And it's because it's the best way for us.
Yeah.
But the other artist has a best way for them. And so, but I just think overall, you need to go with what is good for you and find the people that can help you the best. And it's not necessarily going to be me that's going to give you the best instruction for every answer that you're looking for.
One other thing I want to say is that as we grow and get more people in the stream, it also becomes harder to answer everything, especially because so we have two options, right? I could tell Jed beforehand, I could say, hey Jed, give like 1 or 2 sentence answers to everything. But I don't think you guys would enjoy that, and I wouldn't either. So I like to err on the side of let Jed say what he wants to say and talk with everybody. Even if we get to less questions, then kind of force him to answer as many questions as possible. But there's always Acrylic University for more of the details. So
and feel free to shut me up. If there's lots of questions, I don't necessarily know that, so I could shut up quicker. I could try to be more efficient too.
I will if I need to, but so far I don't feel the need. A few people have asked, like, what's the story of how you found Diana and how that partnership kind of worked out?
Oh yeah, well, it's really cool because she used to live close to where I live, and I had never, I'm trying to think when, I think maybe we met a long time ago. But what really happened was we were starting Acrylic University, and I met this other guy who is an artist, and he was saying, hey, you should talk to Diana. She'd be a super cool person to work with for you and all this stuff. And I think they were doing a workshop, and I just remember going over there. She was teaching a workshop. We sat down during one of the breaks or something like that, and we ended up talking. And she's so easy to talk to, and we just had a fun time discussing things. And then I can't remember what happened after that exactly. I think oh, well, one of the first things we did with her actually was, I think she was the very first interview that we ever did.
Yeah.
And after we interviewed her, I think at some point we thought, well, I was kind of talking to her about a course or something she could do. So then we created a course, and
wow.
And then that was great. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So
that was so long ago, though.
I know, isn't that crazy? So long.
In some ways, it feels like it was just yesterday.
I know. And then it was actually just about, boy, it wasn't really. I mean, she started doing more with us, doing demos and, I don't know, helping a lot of different ways, but we really
Q&As.
brought. What's that?
Yeah, live Q&As, I think.
Yeah, live Q&As. Yep. And that was a huge help to me, man. That was a huge help. that was the first thing that really she did really regularly was, she did live Q&As and demos. It morphed into some demos, and then we stopped doing the Q&A exactly that way because it was so repetitive, and we realized we could throw Q&As in with other stuff that we did, and we could create more interest, like a better variety of stuff. So she started teaching workshops for us in the fall, and on a monthly basis now she does workshops, and that's been super cool because like I said, I mean, she's an incredible instructor. She goes into incredible detail. Like, I feel like that was the other thing. Remember, Peter, was we stopped down in Portland when we were down there filming.
Yep.
And we met her and her husband, and we spent the night at their place. And
yeah, we actually did an interview with her that nobody's ever seen.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's funny. We have that one, and we have that other one with Amy Erickson that we never ever published or anything.
Audio was terrible on them, so it's somewhat.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of like the early days. We didn't.
Yeah,
really
we were
know
so amateur. Somebody said that. Okay, so somebody's asking about a replacement for Hansa Yellow Opaque because apparently it's being discontinued.
Oh, really?
What they're saying. And then also it's getting close to 7.
Oh, is it, man? It's a late one. Sorry, guys. I've been painting slow tonight. Painting slow. Okay,
Looks fantastic, though.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. That's the encouragement that I was waiting for, Peter.
Yeah. Starving.
Oh, man. Well, we do believe in the power of encouragement. I'm a firm believer in it because, you know what? I've had a lot of encouragement in my life. I have parents that encouraged me in art from the time I was a wee lad, just a wee lad. And so I think that, you know, even though I joke around about that, like, it's funny. It's funny how much it means to have somebody say, hey, that looks good. Like, oh, that's awesome. You know, like, and so I do appreciate that.
I always think about, there was a whole book that I read that was just about how history's been changed because somebody encouraged somebody that had a profound impact on human history.
Yeah, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
To think about. Yeah. All the things that happen, that go on, the people that we never would have heard of, and all that stuff, right? That was what that book was really saying, right? Is like, there's all this stuff, and look behind it, and you'll find like there's somebody that stepped into their life and said something, or encouraged them, or lifted them up, or helped them through this situation. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even know who these people are.
Exactly.
And they wouldn't have done this. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, well, it's close. It's close. This is a good time. I'll probably come in here and fill in some of this green that's back here. I know that because I can see it as an area that I will cover up some of the red. I don't mind the red coming through some, but I think there's a little bit too much of it. And then I'll probably also come in here and bring in some of the color of the sand and the rocks in here. And maybe, just maybe, for the person who was wondering if I was going to bring in any of the rock detail, maybe I will. Maybe just a little bit. But I don't know for sure. So anyways, that's kind of where that will end up going. But hope that you had a good time joining. I will pull up, let's see, I'll pull up the reference photo right next to it so we can kind of compare and look and see and say, oh yeah, like, what's different? What's the same? Yeah, it's a little bit more colorful in some ways with the red that pokes through. But there are some red flowers over there on that grass, so it's actually kind of accurate that way. Yeah. Coolio. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for sticking with us for shoot, I guess 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. We believe in you. And remember that you are the artwork. You are a masterpiece being created right now. So thanks for being here, Peter. Thanks for joining. You're such an awesome dude to do this with. Yeah. And I'll let you say bye to everybody too.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, 2 hours did go by quickly. That's what happens with these things, man. But yeah, we love you guys. Color Boot Camp coming up soon. We will announce that as soon as we can. And just keep an eye out for it. If you pay attention to what we do, you won't miss it. You won't miss it. One other thing, just wanted to say, we're gonna start working on our YouTube channel more and uploading cool stuff here. So make sure that you are subscribed and you also have the bell turned on, because that means you'll get, hopefully, if YouTube is nice to us, you'll get a notification.
like this for us. That'd be awesome. Yes. We appreciate it. All right, love you guys. Have a good night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.